There's an oil that costs $2 to apply and makes any piece of wood completely waterproof. Not water resistant, waterproof. Decks, fences, outdoor furniture, barn doors, tool handles, cutting boards, cabin walls. One application soaks into the grain, bonds at the molecular level, and hardens into a transparent armor that repels water permanently. Pour water on a treated surface and it beads up and rolls off like rain on a freshly waxed hood. The Chinese waterproofed entire naval fleets with it 2,500 years ago. The United States military declared it a strategic war material in 1941 and reserved every domestic drop for the war effort. Marco Polo documented it in the 13th century after watching Chinese shipbuilders seal ocean-going vessels with nothing but this oil, lime, and chopped hemp fiber. And then in the 1930s, the chemical industry figured out how to manufacture something cheaper. Not better, cheaper. They did not abandon this oil because it failed. They stopped talking about it because it worked too well and cost too little. A $2 oil that permanently waterproofs wood cannot sustain a $40 gallon of sealant that peels and cracks every 2 years. And what cannot generate repeat purchases cannot generate profit. This is the story of the oldest wood finish on Earth, and how a $12 billion coatings industry made certain you would never learn its name. In roughly 400 BC, ancient Chinese texts described an oil pressed from the seeds of a heart-shaped leaf tree native to the hill regions of southern China. The tree was the tung tree. The oil it produced would shape the trajectory of civilizations for 25 consecutive centuries. Chinese craftsmen discovered that when tung oil was spread across raw wood and left to cure in open air, it did not simply coat the surface. It penetrated deep into the wood fibers, moved into the grain at a cellular level, and then did something that no other oil in the known world could do. It polymerized. Exposure to oxygen triggered a chain reaction that transformed the liquid oil into a solid, transparent, flexible polymer locked inside the wood itself. Not a film sitting on the surface waiting to crack. A molecular shield fused into the wood from within. The result was a surface that repelled water completely while still allowing the wood to breathe naturally. Moisture could not enter, but trapped humidity could still escape, which prevented the rot and warping that destroy wood from the inside out regardless of what sits on top. By the Song dynasty, roughly 960 to 1279 AD, Chinese shipbuilders were coating entire hulls with tung oil. Ocean-going vessels called junks crossed the South China Sea, navigated the Indian Ocean, and reached the eastern coast of Africa with hulls that survived years of continuous saltwater immersion. No fiberglass, no epoxy, no synthetic sealant of any kind. Just pressed nut oil from a tree that grew in the hills above their cities. When Marco Polo arrived in China in the 1270s, he documented what he witnessed in enough detail that historians still reference it. He wrote that the Chinese combined lime, chopped hemp, and a certain wood oil, and that when the three were thoroughly mixed, they held like any glue. That certain wood oil was tung. He watched it being applied to ships that would cross the most unforgiving stretches of open ocean on Earth, and he understood that whatever it was, it worked in a way that nothing in Europe at the time could match. But tung oil was not the only weapon in the ancient waterproofing arsenal. Across Europe, a parallel discovery had been developing for centuries with linseed oil, pressed from the seeds of the flax plant. Renaissance painters used it as the base for their pigments. Shipwrights along the Baltic and North Sea coasts rubbed it into oak planking before launching vessels into cold northern waters. The combination of both oils together was formidable. Linseed oil penetrated deeply, conditioning the wood fibers from within, keeping them supple and resistant to cracking. Tung oil hardened over that foundation, creating the waterproof polymer barrier on top. Together, they formed a layered defense system that no single synthetic product developed since has ever fully replicated. And for centuries, this combination was simply how wood was protected. Not because it was exotic or expensive or required specialized knowledge, because it worked, and everyone who built things meant to last knew it. Your great-grandparents knew this. Every farmhouse in rural America had a tin of boiled linseed oil and a jar of tung oil sitting on the workshop shelf alongside the other basic tools of maintenance. Fence posts treated with these oils in the 1920s are still standing in parts of Virginia, the Carolinas, and the rural Midwest. The knowledge was ordinary. It was common. It was passed from builders to apprentices and from farmers to their children the same way any essential practical knowledge gets passed. Then something changed. In 1926, chemists at DuPont developed the first practical oil-modified alkyd resin, a synthetic polyester that could approximate some properties of natural drying oils, but be manufactured in a factory at industrial scale. By the early 1930s, alkyd-based coatings began replacing pure linseed and tung oil finishes across both architectural and industrial applications. The sales pitch was straightforward. Faster drying, smoother finish, more consistent color. What they did not advertise was that alkyd coatings sat on the surface of the wood like a plastic film. They did not penetrate the grain. They did not become part of the wood. They cracked under ultraviolet light. They peeled when moisture worked underneath the surface layer. They failed. And when they failed, you bought another can. By 1935, the transition was nearly complete. Hardware stores that had carried pure tung oil and linseed oil on their front shelves for decades began pushing synthetic varnish instead. The economics were simple and brutal. The profit margin on a 40-cent bottle of natural oil that lasted a decade was negligible, compared to a $4 can of sealant that required reapplication every 18 months. The natural oils did not disappear because they stopped working. They disappeared because they worked so well that nobody needed to come back and buy more. A product that eliminates its own repeat purchase is not a product the modern retail model knows how to sell. Now, let me show you the chemistry, because the numbers are what make this genuinely uncomfortable for the coatings industry. Tung oil contains a fatty acid called alpha-eleostearic acid at roughly 69% concentration, with 3 conjugated double bonds in its carbon chain. That specific molecular structure is what makes tung oil cure harder, faster, and more completely than any other natural drying oil on Earth. When those double bonds react with atmospheric oxygen, they cross-link with neighboring fatty acid chains in a process called autoxidative polymerization. The result is a dense, interconnected polymer network that is functionally waterproof at the molecular level. The United States Forest Products Laboratory documented this extensively in the 1930s and 1940s, confirming in published government research that cured tung oil exhibited superior water resistance compared to every other natural drying oil they tested. This was not industry marketing. This was federal government laboratory research. They knew exactly what this oil could do. Now look at the cost comparison, because this is where it gets uncomfortable for anyone who has spent money on deck sealant in the last 20 years. A quart of pure 100% tung oil costs between $12 and $18 at retail today. A single quart covers roughly 150 square feet across multiple thin coats for proper deep penetration. A standard residential deck averages 300 to 400 square feet. 2 quarts of pure tung oil at maximum cost $36 gives you complete coverage with multiple coats and deep grain saturation. Compare that to the synthetic alternative sitting on the shelf next to it. A single gallon of brand name deck sealant costs between $35 and $50. That gallon covers 200 to 400 square feet with 1 coat, and every manufacturer recommends 2 coats minimum. For a standard deck, you're spending $70 to $100 before you pick up a brush. And printed in the small text on the back label, in font small enough to require reading glasses, are 4 words. Reapply everyone to 3 years. Over a decade of maintaining a single deck, a homeowner following those instructions spends between $350 and $1,000 on the same product that cracked last spring. The same deck treated once with tung oil costs $36 and lasts years because the oil is inside the wood, not sitting on top, waiting for the first freeze-thaw cycle to lift it. Here is where the story turns from interesting to genuinely infuriating. In 1905, a senior agricultural explorer for the United States Department of Agriculture brought tung tree seeds from Hankow, China to the American South. The federal government recognized the potential immediately. By 1912, the Bureau of Plant Industry was urging American farmers to plant tung orchards and offering free seedlings to encourage adoption. By 1927, over 10,000 acres of tung trees were growing in Florida alone. By 1938, the American tung belt stretched from the Florida panhandle across to eastern Texas, with roughly 200,000 acres in production. Tung oil was domestic, abundant, cheap, and superior to every synthetic alternative then available. The United States had built an entire agricultural industry around it. And then in 1941, the federal government declared tung oil a strategic material for national defense and reserved every drop of American production for the war effort. Every round of ammunition was coated with products containing tung oil. Every military vessel was painted with tung-based coatings. Every piece of military equipment exposed to weather and salt water was protected with the same oil that Chinese shipbuilders had trusted to cross open oceans centuries earlier. The government knew exactly how effective this oil was because they used it to protect the machines of war when failure was not an acceptable outcome. Here's what happened after the war ended. The synthetic chemical industry had invested hundreds of millions of dollars in alkyd resin production capacity during wartime and needed those factories to keep running. The paint and coatings conglomerates needed customers, and the most effective way to create customers was to ensure that the public forgot what their grandparents had already known. They flooded the post-war market with cheap imported tung oil from Argentina and China, systematically undercutting domestic growers until American orchards became economically unviable. Between 1955 and 1970, domestic tung oil consumption declined by nearly 50%. Then Hurricanes Betsy in 1965 and Camille in 1969 destroyed the remaining Gulf Coast orchards. Federal disaster compensation paid the growers to walk away. Almost none of them replanted. By the early 1970s, the American tung oil industry was effectively gone. Not because the oil had failed, because the industry built around the oil had been methodically dismantled. Today, the global wood coatings market generates over $12 billion annually. The 4 companies that dominate that market are Sherwin-Williams, PPG Industries, AkzoNobel, and BASF. Polyurethane coatings alone account for over 42% of market share. Every polyurethane deck sealant on every hardware store shelf sits on the surface of the wood like a plastic membrane. It does not penetrate. It does not bond at the molecular level. It cracks under prolonged ultraviolet exposure. It peels when moisture infiltrates beneath the surface film. And when it fails, you walk back into the store and buy another can. You cannot patent tung oil. You cannot patent linseed oil. You cannot create a proprietary formula from something that grows on a tree and is pressed from a nut that nature produces for free. You cannot generate reliable repeat revenue from a product that lasts a decade. And what cannot be patented, rebranded, and sold at a 900% markup cannot sustain a $12 billion industry. So the industry did what industries do when a superior product threatens their margins. They replaced what works with what sells. Here's exactly what to do. Go to any hardware store or search online and purchase pure 100% tung oil. Not tung oil finish, not tung oil blend, not tung oil formula, pure tung oil. The word pure must appear on the label, and you need to read the full ingredients list before purchasing. Many products marketed as tung oil in standard retail settings contain less than 5% actual tung oil mixed with petroleum solvents, synthetic fillers, and modified alkyd resins. If the ingredients list includes mineral spirits, naphtha, or modified alkyd anywhere in the formulation, return it to the shelf and find a different product. The only ingredient in pure tung oil is tung oil. For the first coat, thin the pure tung oil with citrus solvent or natural turpentine at a 1-to-1 ratio. This thinned mixture penetrates deeper into the wood fibers on the initial application, reaching the interior grain rather than saturating the surface. Apply it generously with a lint-free cotton cloth or a natural bristle brush, working it firmly into the grain with circular and then linear strokes. Allow the first coat to soak for 15 to 30 minutes. Then wipe away any excess oil that the wood has not absorbed. Allow a full 24 to 48 hours of curing time before applying the next coat. For the second coat, adjust the ratio to approximately 70% oil and 30% solvent. Apply the same way, wipe the excess, and allow it to cure fully. For the third and final coat, apply the tung oil at full strength with no solvent added. This final layer builds the outermost polymer shield while the previous 2 coats have already saturated the interior grain. 3 coats total over 3 days of patient curing. Total cost for a full residential deck is under $40. The finished surface will show a warm honey gold tone with a satin sheen that deepens the natural grain of the wood rather than obscuring it beneath a plastic film. It will not look like a coated surface. It will look like wood that is alive and richly nourished. Pour water on it after the final cure is complete and watch it bead and roll off exactly the way rain moves off a waxed car hood. The water finds no path in because there is no path. The polymer network inside the grain is continuous, dense, and impenetrable. A retired woodworker in western North Carolina treated his cedar deck with this exact 3-coat method in 2016. 9 years later, there is no cracking, no peeling, no color fade, and no reapplication. His neighbors on both sides have resealed their composite decks twice in that same period, spending over $600 each. He spent $32 once. One thing deserves honest acknowledgement. Tung oil takes longer to cure than any synthetic sealant you will find on a hardware store shelf. During that 30-day window, the surface is still actively building its polymer network and should be protected from hard use. The synthetic industry sells you speed because speed means you finish faster, which means you come back for more sooner when it inevitably peels. Tung oil asks for patience in exchange for permanence. Every civilization that built things meant to outlast a single generation understood that trade and accepted it without hesitation. Confucius wrote about this oil 2,500 years ago. Song Dynasty shipwrights trusted it to cross the open ocean. The United States federal government trusted it to protect the machines of war at the moment in history when those machines could not be allowed to fail. American farmers grew 200,000 acres of tung orchards because they understood its value, until an industry with better lobbyists and bigger marketing budgets decided that understanding was bad for business. The oil did not vanish. The trees still grow. The chemistry still works, the polymer network still forms, the water still beads and rolls off exactly as it has for 2,500 years. You just were not supposed to find out.